Hello, welcome back to my studio or my dojo or training room. Well, okay, that's exaggerating it. It's really just uh, a bedroom converted for training. But welcome anyway. This is Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. The date is July 25th, 2020. And we are here to do some nasty groundwork. Now, some of you are saying, what's with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu outfit? What's with the blue belt? We thought you were higher rank than that. But this is exactly why I'm wearing this outfit. Because what we'll be doing today will look a lot like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression that I am some high-ranking brown belt or red belt or black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu person. All I ever got out of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was a blue belt. I have higher belts in other stuff, but not in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But with that said, what we'll be doing today is definitely not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I also wanted to wear this outfit to get this idea across that you do not need a super high belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be super good or super lethal or whatever on the ground. As long as you understand the basics, obviously having a higher belt will help. But once you understand the basics of how to move on the ground and how to defend and attack on the ground, and once you can take that out of the square rule set by MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, you can use it very well in self-defense without needing that black belt or red belt or brown belt. So I'm doing this ground and pound in response to some of you who were in my this last Wednesday's class, who said that you have hard time following the description and have hard time following what was going on. So let's hope that after today, you'll be more comfortable with what we're doing. We'll be looking at attacking from the top mount today and then transitioning into the side mount. Let's get our terminology straight. What is top mount? What is a side mount? Let's say you somehow got your opponent on the ground, like I have this heavy bag. It's laying on the ground, like a person that I just thrown or tripped, and I get on top, like riding a horse. I'm facing their head. There are some moves where you can execute them by doing a reverse mount where you face towards their leg, but we won't worry about those yet. So traditional top mount, I'm facing their head, I'm uh, sitting astride them, my knees are to the ground, and I sink my weight down on the person, pinching my knees together. So there's a very little wiggle room, and if they buck, that's okay. If they buck off, try to buck me off, I can squeeze with my knee to stay seated, just like riding a horse. Okay, this is the only top mount we're going to be worrying about today. If the person is so big around that your knees can't actually touch the ground, let's say your knees can't reach the ground, so you have to put your feet to the ground, bottom of your feet flat to the ground. Then always remember to have your heels towards them and turn your toes out a little bit. This way, if the person suddenly roll over, he won't break your foot. If you have your foot if you have your toes pointed forward, if they roll over, they'll roll right on top of your foot. You're going to get your foot broken. Okay? I've done that to people before. When they try to get a top mount on me and I roll over onto their foot and ankle and just break their ankle that way. Right? So if you have to put your feet flat to the floor, make sure that your toes are turned outward, your heels are digging into the rib cage. This way, if they try to roll over, you'll have all your calf muscles in the way. Your foot won't turn over with them. Now, what is side mount? Side mount is when I pin someone from the side, so the person is laying down on the ground, and rather than sitting on top of them, I'll be on the side. My knees are on the same side of their body. My arms and elbows will be controlling the opposite side. So I'm pinning them by laying across their body, usually their chest. This is actually my favorite position to pin someone, and as some of you have seen in the knee strike video, from this position, you can bring your knee into the person, into the rib, into the shoulder, into the rib. I can hold them down on the ground with my upper body while I do nasty things to them with my knees or elbow. Let me repeat this again. Please don't kneel on anybody's neck. Yeah, just have to say that. So, when we don't want to do jujitsu, when we actually want to hit the person, when we want to punish them for trying to rob us or trying to hurt us, here is what we're going to do today. It's some basic ground and pound techniques. My favorite kind of thing, in other words. Now, let's look at punches from the ground, from sitting on top mount, riding on top of the person. For those of you watching the video, if you are using a heavy bag, a punching bag, to mount on, to sit on, always imagine that it actually has arms. Okay? Because it's so easy to fall into the mistaken idea that this is easy. Yeah, hitting this is easy because it doesn't have arms. It's not blocking. It's not putting the elbow in the way. It's not going to suddenly grab me and pull me forward and try to roll me over. But you need to imagine that it's a person. And it might be a person who knows how to wrestle. It might be a person who's good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It might be a person who knows a bit of MMA. So always imagine their arms in the way. The reason I'm saying that is, if you imagine that there are arms in the way, and this person is going to fight you back and hit you back, a lot of what I'm going to teach you is going to make a lot more sense. So, when I'm sitting here, if I'm going to throw standard punches down at the guy, a lot of these punches, by the time they reach him, it's going to either be blocked because he's going to see it coming, and he's going to just cover up with his arm, cover his head with his arm. So I'm just going to be dealing with a lot of elbows and forearms. I'm not going to be able to get in his face, right? So rather than sitting upright and trying to throw punches, which is a lousy idea to begin with, when you are in a top mount, you never want to sit upright or too far back. Because remember, this person has legs too. If I sit too far back, most likely I'm now in the range of his kick. He can actually kick up and hit the back of my head. Or some people who are flexible enough, they can actually lock their ankle around my neck and pull me backward. I don't want that to happen. So when I'm in top mount, I want to keep the pressure on the person by pinching my knee tight, keeping my weight low, but I want to lean forward away from the leg just in case he try to kick me. And from this point, I want to always keep my hand up here dominating the space between him and me because I know even though he's on his back, he can actually punch up at me too. Okay? So I don't want to make obvious regular punches that don't achieve a lot and don't have a lot of power from this position. When I want to punch the person while I'm on top mount, I'm going to throw that punch diagonally downward while dropping my whole body weight into the punch. Okay? There's not going to be a lot of jabs or cross or hook. It's just going to be bone smashing, penetration. I'm going to go right through them all the way to the ground, and my whole body weight is going to be behind these punches. Why? Because I know it's hard for me to miss while I have him here. Right? The reason we very rarely punch like that when we are standing is there's too big of a chance the person deflect you or step out of the way. And if you miss, you're off balance. You take too long to recover. You're now at the person's mercy for half a second. But when I have the person underneath me on the ground like this, I don't have to worry about him moving out of the way. He's right here. He can either block or he can take it. So my whole point is if he blocks, I want to blast through his block. I want to penetrate whatever defense he has by dropping my whole weight behind every punch I aim down at him. Okay, I'm not going to stand here and okay. Of course, unless it's a friendly sparring session. If we're just like a friendly sparring session, then I'm not going to do that kind of heavy punch on him because it can lead to a lot of brain damage. But if this is a self-defense situation, once I get the person down on the ground, I am going to drop all my weight behind every punch. Okay? I'm not going to worry about form or stuff like that. I'm just going to aim down and drop down and penetrate. My punch is going to go through him to the ground. Similarly, when you're here on the top mount position, if you want to throw an elbow, it can be awkward as heck. Because again, the person's arm, imagine the arm that in a way. The person is not going to just put their arm down for me to elbow them, right? They're going to be putting their arm up, so if I throw an elbow, I might hit their elbow with my elbow, which it might be okay, but kind of a pain in the elbow at the same time. So rather than trying to elbow him from here, I'm going to bring my elbow above him, set my elbow in place, and then drop my weight down on him. Okay? I'm going to raise up and drop down. Okay? I'm going to rock my weight forward. My butt will come off of his body for a millisecond, and I drop my weight down, anchoring on my elbow, right in there, right in the chest. Please don't do that to someone's head. Might kill somebody. Okay? So, again, we are not throwing standard elbow. We are setting the elbow in place, raise up and drop down with the elbow. But if I want to throw multiple elbows, do I come back up again and drop down again? No, that would be silly. That takes way too much energy. Once I drop that first elbow in, I'm going to twist my torso to pull this elbow back, and then while I'm leaning forward, boom, boom, boom. Keep twisting with the torso. That elbow will go from 6 inches away into the target. 6 inches away into the target. My body stay leaning forward to keep the person pinned. I'm not going to drop and then raise up again and drop and raise up again and drop. That would be too much energy, too ridiculous. I'm already pinning him down. I'm just going to stay low and keep elbowing until the fight is no longer in the person. Hammer fist. A lot of people who are not very good or that new at ground and pound, once they get the person down on the ground like I have now, they start swinging their hammer fist uh, from very high up, from the shoulder up and down, down, down. Now, this might work for people who are not trained in ground fighting, but if the person underneath you knows his stuff, the moment you swing this down, he's going to wrap his arm around your arm, pull you down, and butt you off. Right? That is why I say you want to imagine this actually have arms, because then what I teach you makes more sense. Otherwise, you can just hit it however you want. But no, if I sit here and swing regular hammer fist down at the target, he's going to put his arm up in the way to block. I will waste a lot of energy trying to get through that block. And anytime I miscalculate, he's going to grab my arm and then bust me off. And then he's going to end up on top. And he's going to be swinging hammer fist at me. I don't want that. So, if I am going to throw a hammer fist, I'm going to trick the person into, I'm going to throw an elbow at his face. So I present my elbow to his face, keeping my elbow above his face as a threat. This make him think about this elbow is going to drop down. He's going to cover up his head. Okay? I don't know anybody who's going to not cover up their head when I do this. When I bring my elbow above their face and look like I'm going to elbow drop them. Okay? So once I do this, and they start covering their head, my fist is already cocked up to my chin. So I'm already loaded and chambered and ready to go. So from here, I'm going to shift my weight over to my right knee, my left leg still putting weight on the person. I'm just shifting my butt off the person to the right because I'm going to deliver this hammer fist with my right hand straight into the solar plexus. Okay? If I'm delivering this with my left hand, then I shift my weight to the left and throw the hammer fist in there, and then I come back to sit on top of them. Okay? I'm not going to lift my weight off of them and then shift. Okay? I'm just going to move my weight from center to the side, so I stay in constant contact with their body, and my weight is always here. Okay? And I'm aiming this hammer fist right down here in the solar plexus. The solar plexus. So again, from top mount, I present my elbow like I'm going to elbow drop onto their face. They put their hand up to block that. They cover up their head. I shift my weight and throw this elbow down, in, this hammer fist, down into the solar plexus. So some people going to say, okay, why are you shifting your weight? Why don't you just throw it? Because if I am directly on top of him, and I have my elbow pointed out like this, my hammer fist is not very hard. I don't have very good leverage. All the body mechanic is wrong. This is why I shift my body to line things up. Once I shift my body, my arm is swinging naturally. Okay? Just a tiny little shift with your weight will generate a lot more force with that hammer fist. Now I understand some of you who watch a bit of MMA or you're really good with your jiu-jitsu, you already see the weakness in my move there. You probably are thinking, well, the moment you turn your elbow toward my face like that, I can loop my arm through your elbow and pull you against my body. And this way I will have control of you. And that is very true. And that is why we are not doing jiu-jitsu or MMA. We are doing Krav Maga, self-defense. Now I'm going to show you the next strike in this combo. Let me turn this punching bag sideways so you can see better. Okay, so now hopefully you guys can see me from profile. This will make this look a little bit more clear. So let's say I shift my weight, I present my elbow, I cock my hammer fist, and the person does what some of you might be thinking, loop their arm around my elbow and pull me down towards their chest. Okay? Now from this position, I won't be able to just yank back. I won't be able to pull back very hard because I'm in a very awkward position. But guess what? My left hand is free. And from this angle, my left hand will deliver a hammer fist right into the groin. Okay? If that doesn't make them let go, I don't know what will. Well, like they usually say, if one groin strike doesn't work, do two. Okay? So the proper sequence of this combo should look like this. Elbow outward, turn, hammer to the solar plexus, hammer to the groin. Okay, it's a double hammer fist. Huh? Last but not least, I'll show you guys a transition to side mount from this position after you deliver your hammer fist combo. So most people, most of the traditional uh, transition from top mount to side mount. Let's say I'm on top mount, I'm sitting astride the person. Uh, yeah, let me turn this again to get a better angle for you guys. So the traditional top mount is from here, from the top of the person. I'm going to put my hand mostly over his face or on his chest or on his forehead, and I'm going to drop my upper body over his face and my lower body swing over his leg, and I'm in side mount. This is your traditional side mount transition. The one problem with this transition is if the person knows that it's coming, they can stick up their leg to make it hard for me to swing my leg across. So I'll get caught halfway, right? So, with our previously learned hammer fist combo, let me turn this again. With our hammer fist combo, we are going to do a standard cavalry horse dismount. What is a horse dismount? Horse dismount means you swing your leg over the head of the horse rather than dismounting by swinging your leg over the hind quarter of the horse. So once I shift my weight, I deliver the hammer fist to the solar plexus. I deliver the hammer fist to the groin. I'm going to leave my back arm, the arm that's in the back, the arm that just hit them in the groin. I'm going to put my forearm across their side. So this way they can't kick up at me. At least if they try, I'll feel that it's coming. Okay? I'm going to put my arm like a bar across their leg. And then I'm going to put my weight down and then my right leg swing over their head. So now look at this. I'm actually sitting on the person. My legs are on the left side of the person. I'm sitting right on the person like he's a sofa. Okay? So from here, I'm going to slide down. So I'm laying, my back is on him, and from here, I'm just going to turn over, roll over. Okay? Now I'm in position. Dismount from the head end, in other words. So again, hammer fist, hammer fist. Put the forearm across the leg and swing the leg across and roll. And of course, right after I roll over, I'm going to start throwing my knee into his ribcage. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. I hope this is more clear than the class on Wednesday. Train hard, have fun. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good evening.